Everybody, this is the Minnesota Original Music Festival's first composer showcase, and tonight we are featuring Larry McDonough's Quartet. Couple things just as we get started. I just wanted to mention that this activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Also, this program is made possible with funds provided from the St. Peter Tourism and Visitors Bureau. So, without further ado, we have Larry and his quartet performing tunes. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you. That was in the contract. We had to do tunes, so we're doing tunes. Yeah, the program tonight is called SpecAbilities or Special Abilities. It's music in which the melodies have been written by children at that time with special needs and special abilities, including my daughter Rosie. I'll tell you more about this as we go through the night. So the first tune we're going to play is called A Rose for Two, and Rosie wrote part of the melody for that, and then two siblings, Jennifer and Patrick, wrote another section of it, and then my job was to expand that out to a piece. So this is A Rose for Two. Thank you. That was a rose for two. Want to introduce the band? We have Richard Terrell on saxes. We have Craig Materace on bass. And we have Dean White on drums. So part of the challenge in this project is the kids were not formally trained in music, and the device they used to create the melodies was a computer screen with colors on it, and they touched different colors that were assigned to different notes. Some of the kids were probably a little more intentional, maybe some a little more random with it. And so what I ended up having to work with on this piece was, let's see. And then the middle part was, and And so it took me a little while to do something with that. And the cool thing about their writing is that it wasn't conventional thinking. And so, for instance, this piece starts in E minor and it ends in A minor without any real clear path to get there. And then the middle section essentially has no tonality at all, and then it comes back. So part of what happened with me doing this project is I write differently than I did before this project, because I started opening up my mind to different configurations and stuff. So it's been a really cool process for me. So the next tune we're doing is called Ellie's Theme. And this was written by a kid, Ellie. And we recorded this on an album back a few years ago called Simple Gifts. And the challenge with this one is Ellie gave me 4 notes, and with a lot of coaxing, that was it. And so these are the notes. And this one sat a while until I came up with the idea that if I could take those 4 notes and turn it into a 5-note phrase, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, then the next phrase would be 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, would mask the fact that it's only 4 notes. And I think it worked. After a while, Richard wrote some lyrics to this, and we use it lyrically as a hymn in some Unitarian congregations. And the nice thing about it, it's like really easy to sing because there are only 4 notes. And there are only 4 notes that are 1/6 apart, so easy tune to sing. We're not going to sing it tonight because we're not in church, so we'll do kind of a ballad version of it and then have it morph into more kind of a gospel thing for the solos. Thank you. That was Ellie's theme with a melody based by Ellie Gorman, and I did a little bit more with it. So the next tune we're going to do is a tune called Solitude, and Richard and I recorded this as a duo on a CD a few years back called Solitude. And here Ellie wrote part of the melody on it, and then a couple other kids, Jack and Christian, filled it out. And some of these pieces are in kind of unusual time signatures. Like the last one wasn't, but the first one, Rose for Two, was in 5, and this one's in 7 because it just needed to be in 7. So here's Solitude.
We all start there.
Yep, we all start.
All right.
And then it's kind of verse, piano, verse, sax, bass, verse. Okay. So I'll give us 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sun goes, don't care. I will lie there still. I will. Don't like morning's mood. Nights my solitude. Dogs of winter, cold as feather snow. I feel trees around me breathe. Silence of their leaves. Thank you. That was Solitude. So this was a really fun project for me to do because my daughter Rosie was part of that project. And this was started back in the early 2000s, so she was in her early teens at that point. She's 31 now, and she still knows that that's her tune, which is kind of cool. Because Rosie travels the world, unlike most of us. She'll be a preschooler, kind of in an adult's body for the rest of her life, which on some level is really charming. And I can watch Sesame Street with her, with a 31-year-old daughter, and it's like not weird. And but she's very vulnerable. She would get in a car with anybody, thinks traffic stops for her. So she always needs someone over her shoulder, kind of making sure that she's safe. But within that environment, within the environment of her, she actually has a lot of musical qualities that her typical sisters actually don't have as strong. So it's been fun to see her blossom that way. So the next tune we're going to do is called Waltz for Christian, and the melody was by a kid named Christian. And he gave us, what did he give us, about 5 notes also. And so these were the notes. And once again, I was challenged. Part of what I came up with this one is I ran the melody, that melody twice, and then I flipped it around backwards and ran it twice, and then tried to figure out some chords that might fit with it all, and came up with this tune. So it's called Waltz for Christian. Richard and I recorded it also on the album Solitude. So this is Waltz for Christian. Thank you. I really like how that tune's evolved. You know, when I first wrote it, it didn't have that much steam to it. It was really just kind of. But you know, when you write a tune, you just never know where it's going to go. And so that's just how it sounded on the piano, and then you get the band together, and it's like, well, what do we do this? Why don't we do this? And then it just evolves organically into this really kind of nice burning swing waltz. So really like, and that's part of the cool thing about this project. This project started with, you know, Christian writing 5 notes on a computer, and that could have been all it was. And then I got to spend some time massaging it into something a little bigger than that. and then the band comes together and then massages it into something that I never contemplated. And so this has just been a really, really cool journey. I want to introduce the band again. Yeah, thank you. We got Dean White on drums. We got Craig Materace on bass. Richard Terrell on saxes. And I'm Larry McDonough. The next piece we're going to play is Funkabilty, and because it's a funk tune, so why not? And also it's kind of a funk tune with a melody written by a kid with special abilities. So this had melody fragments from two kids, Lucas and Jack. And at first, the tune was in 4/4 time. When Craig and I played it first with Dick, like 15 years ago, it was in 4/4 time. But it evolved in my curious brain into a 7/4 funk tune because most funk tunes aren't in 7. So there you go. So this is Funkabilty. Thank you. That was Funkabilty with melody fragments written by Lucas Jacobson and Jack Thuleen. Okay, let's see. What should we do next? So Eli, can we go about another 10 or 15, or that work for you? Okay. So he's pretty easy, isn't he? So we're going to do 2 more tunes, and these are tunes that were not written by kids with special needs, but I wanted to show how my writing kind of evolved from having worked on this project. I think the 2 pieces that we're going to do next might not have come out the way they did had I not been involved with this project. So the first one's called Tuscarora. It's a ballad. It's named after a lake in the Boundary Waters called Tuscarora. It's my favorite lake up there, so if you ever hear I'm up there, don't come. It's well protected. It's a couple lakes in off the Gunflint Trail, and it's got a 1-mile portage on the east side, and so it kind of keeps the lightweights off. It's one of the few lakes I've spent more than one night there in the Boundary Waters. Usually just pack up and move to another lake. So kind of what I had in mind is if the pianist Bill Evans had spent some time in the Boundary Waters, he might have conceived of a piece like this. So it's called Tuscarora. Thank you. Yeah, that was on our Simple Gifts CD, I think, back a few years. So last tune we're going to do is called Scirocco, but I want to do a few more thank yous. So first, introduce the band again. We have Craig Materace on bass, and we have Richard Terrell on saxes, and Dean White on drums. I'm Larry McDonough. I want to thank Eli and the whole team here and the Triple Falls team for putting all this together. This is a large undertaking, so let's give a round of applause there. Hopefully they will all get to sleep peacefully next week. Probably not before then. So, since you know, the coffee houses are closed right now, we need to have kind of an up-in-your-face tune to end the night to keep these lads awake. So, lads and lasses awake. So, we're doing a tune called Scirocco. It's for you numbers nerds. It's in 7/4 time, but each bar equally divides into two sections of 7/8. And if you're not math nerds, just don't worry about it. It's loosely based on a melody from a Chick Corea tune called Sea Journey, but it morphed into something quite a bit different. So this is Scirocco. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're all musically caffeinated now. Again, Richard Terrell on saxes, Dean White on drums, Craig Materace on bass. I'm Larry McDonough. Thanks to Eli and the crew. Thanks for all of you for coming out. And stay tuned for more really cool stuff at this festival. If you like what we're doing, we got a tip jar here. We got one upstairs. We got one everywhere. And we got CDs and merch and stuff upstairs too. Thanks so much.